Hello and welcome to the OMFL Game of the Week for week number 9. I'm sorry that it's been a little while since we've been able to push a video out. Life has been busy and things have been going crazy, but we are back and it is already week number 9. That's right, we are halfway through the OMFL season. The trades have closed down, things are over. We're moving forward and starting to kind of get our eyes on the playoffs and see who's out there. This week, we've got a great game lined up for you. The Vikings are going to travel to go face the Buffalo Bills. These are actually two teams who have always been in the upper echelon of this league, but under new leadership this time. Both the Vikings have a new owner and the Kingpin, and the Bills have a brand new owner that just joined us a few weeks ago, and both of these guys are not only playing exceptionally well with two very good rosters, but they are now in the game of the week. Daddy Leagues is calling for a 22-21 victory for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are averaging 23 points. The Vikings are averaging 28 points. They're giving up, the Vikings that is, 20 points a game, as the Bills are only giving up 13 points a game. You can kind of see the stats here. It's going to be a pretty evenly matched up game. I think what I'm looking forward to the most is what happens on third down here. The Vikings really haven't been faced with that many third down opportunities, but they're only averaging 37.3% per game. There we go. Spit it out there, Nate. The Buffalo Bills, on the other hand, are averaging 54.5% per game and are actually playing super outstanding. Both of these teams get after the quarterback, averaging just slightly over 2 sacks per game. And so these are two very loaded, very stacked teams. It'll be interesting to see who actually comes out on top. The Vikings are sitting at 5-2, an 83 overall team, a team that is doing very, very well on offense. They're averaging 28 points per game, 273 yards in the air, but where they're struggling this year is only 67.1 yards on the ground per game, which kind of brings their total yards per game down. They're averaging over 340 yards per game, but that only puts them at 16th in the league. On defense, this team is also still very stacked. 20 points per game for 13th in the league, giving up 325 yards per game total, 231 in the air, and only 93.4 in the ground. That 93.4 is a little higher than average, puts them at 17th in the total league at the rushing yards per game. You're going to see their stats here. Teddy Bridgewater is playing pretty decent. He has given up a lot of interceptions, but not many sacks, only 8 sacks, but he's given up 9 interceptions to the 10 touchdowns. You got to see that number for touchdowns come up way higher. The interception number isn't that big of a deal. It's only 9, but the fact that he only has 10 touchdowns per game makes that an extremely close number. He is averaging over 65% passing percentage, which is pretty good for 1,957 yards. Again, struggling on offense to find a rushing game. 268 yards for Lewis, 156 yards for Archer. Both of these guys have 2 touchdowns. Finding a steady guy who's really going to just carry the load. They seem to split the carries between all 3 guys. And I think if they could find that one guy, it would really, really help their team. Where this team shines is their receivers. Cheek, Pruitt, Treadwell, and Green are all top-notch guys. These guys can catch tons of passes. You got both Cheek and Green having 8 and 7 touchdowns respectively. These guys have a ton of yards, a ton of receptions. It's going to be really difficult for the Buffalo Bills to stop because that's where the Buffalo Bills struggle, if anywhere, is in the passing attack. On defense, you're going to see Byers comes away with a lot of interceptions. He's already got 3 on the year to go with 23 tackles to lead the team. They spread their sacks around. Donnell Hunter from LSU seems to be the best guy, but Barr's right there with 2, and so is Fitzgerald there with 2. They really like to blitz, and they're so fast and so quick that they can cause you to make some bad throws. Let's look at the Buffalo Bills now. On offense, they're averaging 23 points per game, 299 total yards. 203 passing yards, so they're struggling. They're in the bottom half of the league for passing yards, but 11th in rushing yards at 95 yards per game. On defense, this is where this team is absolutely stacked, always has been. 13 points per game for first in the league, 8th in the league in total yards at 267, 205 for passing. It puts them at 14th. Again, that's not struggling, but it's the only area where you can really attack this team. But man, they've got some linebackers that make plays. And they are 6th in the league at rushing yards allowed at 62.8. Look at a couple of stats here. Again, the former owner, Ducks, was always great at making exceptional plays with a low-rated quarterback. That has not been the same with the new owner, as he's struggling to kind of figure out what that looks like. The completion percentage has dropped down to 69%, which is still outstanding, but that guy was way over 70 before Ducks exited and the new owner took over. Only 1,600 yards on the year, so he doesn't pass a ton. 10 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Just like Teddy Bridgewater, those numbers are super close, only giving up 10 sacks on the year. Henry's numbers have kind of waned a little bit in these last few weeks, whereas Irwin's numbers have actually escalated along with Sims. All these guys kind of share carries as of late, but Henry is the workhorse at 408 yards, 104 carries, 7 touchdowns on the season. This team also has a ton of talent at the receivers. Fitzgerald, Wilson, Brown, and Watkins all can make plays. Watkins is a guy that can take the top off, but Brown, the old aging vet, came in on the cheap, is making plays. 34 receptions, 402 yards, 5 touchdowns for Antonio Brown. Luke Wilson throws in another 265 yards, and these guys are all around very solid. Looking at their defense, though, this is where this team really shines. 5 sacks from Marcellus Wiley. Alton Smith has another 4. Crawford has another 4. And then even Pagan's thrown in another 2. They can pick you off. Buchanan has 3. He was the interception leader last year with 15 or 16 interceptions. Fuller has another 2. Powell is thrown in 2. Brown's got 2. Charles has 2. So a lot of guys that can get after the quarterback and pick off passes and even cause some forced fumbles if you're not able to get the ball out quick. So really a game of 2 unknowns, 2 young guys. One guy in Dakungpin who's been here for a long time but finally taken over a team that he used to have a Madden ago with the Minnesota Vikings. A brand new guy in the Bills who no one truly knows, but this guy just continues to win. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bills just because they're at home. I think that this team just has a little bit more firepower on defense. I do think that the Vikings have more firepower on offense. They just have more playmakers, but the Bills are rolling, and this defense is going to get after you. They're super fast on both sides of the ball. These are really going to be a track meet between these two teams, as both teams are super fast. It's going to be the team that can find the best rushing game, and I just like Henry in this game overall than any other running back. And look for these linebackers from the Bills to make plays, cause the Vikings to throw some bad passes, and just harass them overall. So give me the Bills and a 27-23 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. And that is your game of the week for week number 9. Like and subscribe to our channel. Let me know your thoughts. Let's see how this game turns out. I hope you like the new logo. We're unveiling a brand new logo here today on Twitter and on the site and here on this video. So I hope you're digging it. Stay tuned, as we're going to have a Press Pass Live that'll come out later this weekend. We're going to have a brand new co-host that's going to be on the show with us right now. So it's going to be a lot of fun things, and hopefully we can get a brand new hot seat. The first ever, I'm still pushing for the first ever video live version of a hot seat. So a lot of good things are coming. Thank you guys for tuning in. Week 9, game of the week. Vikings traveling to face the Bills. Let's see how this one turns out. Deuces.